I got the radiator where I need it. You guys can see barely clear as a grill, but works out perfect because once I get rubber pieces down here for it to sit on, so it's not straight up just laying on aluminum on metal. Then the top I'll put rubbers in between here and that back lip, and I'll just bolt it up to here. I mean, I don't have enough to vibrate. I am going to put an angle behind it too though, welded, just to stiffen this up, just so it's not just that little piece. But either way, I could always add like a full square from here all the way across underneath here. Don't matter because the radiator angled back a little bit. The fan is definitely not going to work. First of all, it's way too tall. It's like 19 inches since it's obviously like a Taurus fan. This is 16, which I would be able to space it down here, but it's still too fat to hit the water pump. So I'm just going to go with two slim fans, probably like two 12-inch or something, and then make a shroud for it so it pulls air from the full radiator and not just where the fans are. I do have an underdrive pulley kit on the way, but really the pulley should not come further than this. So literally this is the point that's going to be furthest up. But once the pulleys come in, which is a crank pulley and water pump pulley, then I'll be able to start making my brackets for alternator and power steering pump. Normally the alternator sits really high up here, so I'm going to try to tuck it down somewhere down here so it kind of keeps it clean up here. At least that's the plan. So but I don't know what's next really. I did get the rebuild kit for the carburetor as well, so I might do that. I guess it ran, it worked, it just didn't run top notch how it should. So I ordered a carburetor kit, so I guess I can get started on that. I could also get a lower radiator hose already. Top one I'm gonna wait, depending on where I mount the alternator, but from the looks of it, I might be able to just do like a 90 here and then a 90. It'll be pretty straightforward. Depends what fitting I got for here. I don't know if it goes up like it normally does and it does the loop over. If not, I might have to order a straight one or one with a 90, and then I'll just get a 90 for here straight into that. So I gotta look through my parts stuff and see what I got there. Yeah, I mean, it's slowly going, but it's progress, so better than nothing really. So guess we'll see what I end up doing next. I'm not really sure at this point, since I'm just pretty much waiting on parts again. But at least I got radiator in. Exhaust is at least 80%, if not more, done. But yeah. So continuing on this, got the starter in. I was gonna start on wiring, but figured I'd start on the coilover mount here. So I cut my inner fender there. So yeah, now I'm gonna start on coilovers. I think I'm going with some Civic ones. Since I have spare ones, all I have to do is make a lower mount, since they mount different than it would on this. But I have to make an upper mount anyway, so figured I have them. Might as well put them to good use, and I could always get them for cheap, and they always come on cars that I buy. So Figure why not? Then that way, if I ever want to do a bag setup, I could just buy Civic airbags, coilover setup, and I'll be set on bags. So works out. I got that side cut. I'll cut this side, have it even, and then I'll start removing the old shock. It's pretty much bottomed out on that board down there, so the shock isn't really needed at all. And then I'll be able to trim around the control arm. Eventually I'll reinforce it, that way I can get my coilover true. But they're fairly narrow, they're not that fast, so I should be able to get it right where it's at, and I'll just have to worry about the lower mount like I said. But they're not that tall, so they'll sit around here, but I'll have to put the header on as I go, that way I get them where I need them. I might have to move them at a little more angle than the stock ones, but it should be fine. But it all depends on how the header fits. Doesn't go much out, so it's about here. So worst case, I just make my mount this way and go that way. I'll probably have to trim this a lot more, but that's just a starting point to get the idea. And then I'm gonna do one side, then once that side's done, then I'll do all the measurements, that way this side's exactly the same. That way I don't have, like, let's say a coilover that's at a couple more degrees or something like that. So that's what I'm moving on to next. I originally was gonna do like the QA1 coilovers, but like I said, I feel like for me, having those coilovers there and being able to get them cheaper if I ever change them, and I can change spring rates really easy with having more weight in the front. And then I could also use the stock, well, not stock, but like Civic rear coilovers once I do the 4-link. So having a couple full sets already just works out, saves me money that I could use towards other stuff. So that's what I'm working on now, see how that goes. But like I said, I'm gonna do one side all, and then I'll move on to the other side. So late night out here in the garage. Obviously, as you guys seen, I moved on to radiator, other stuff like that. Now moving to the actual front coilovers. Like I said previously, I'm going to be running Honda Civic ones just because it's what I have. It's what comes cheap to me. I see them all over the place, and I can make them fit, and I could always easily change spring rates to fit the weight of the motor, and I could also make the rear ones fit once I have the 4-link. So show you guys here what I got going on so far. I'm gonna cut the stops, bump stops for the front completely, that way I could go lower if I wanted to, which I probably go lower than what it was, or at least where the bump stops were. But like I said, it's an option. I'll show you guys what I'll be cutting off and all that stuff. I'm gonna focus on the driver's side right now, get that all cleaned up, get it braced, get the coilover mounted and where I need it, see what all I need to modify. Then once I get that side, the passenger side will just be mirrored off this side. So like I said, I'll show you guys what I got going on. Pretty straightforward, but let's just show you guys. Okay, so like I said, I got the upper ball joint off. It's a bolt-on one, so that's kind of nice. I'll be removing the upper control arm. This whole piece is welded on to the frame. Like I said, I won't need this bump stops here, nor this one. So this will get cut down and grind smooth. This will also both get cut out, which is kind of nice. That's reinforced here for the bump stops. So for control arms, nice. I know I'll have to get out here for the coilover to fit through, but then I'll finish reinforcing it, boxing it all in. This top part for the shock will get cut off, and I believe this center part I might just cut off and then just weld, or cut it off and then cut the lip off. You guys can see there's a little lip, and just weld that same piece back on, but right touching at the chassis. So It'll give me a little more clearance in between here. But like I said, right now I'm just about to start removing the upper control arm. Make sure I don't lose the shims that are in it, just so I can work from there. But you guys can see the hollow space here, which if I cut that piece and then move that flat piece back and then weld it on, it'll give me all that clearance in between, which I mean, it's only a 1/2 inch, but a 1/2 inch goes a long ways when you're doing stuff like this. Other side, I showed you guys I cut, but this side I will be cutting a big chunk of it. That way this can go higher since it's obviously hitting there. And on the previous videos when I did the headers, I trimmed the other side on the corner of the control arm here, which I'll be doing on this one. So once it goes up, because once it went to right height, obviously it moves enough to where it pushes towards the headers. So I'll be cutting that and reinforcing it. Like I said, right there it's more than what I want it to be at right height, but if I want to go that low I could. So I'll be trimming to fit that once I bolt the headers back on. So I'm gonna get to work on that, start cutting. It's another one of those no going back, so no big deal. Should work how I need it, but it's a start. So once again, I'm in between cars. I got a mess here, but I'm back to working on the shifter plate for the Toyota. The way I'm doing it, I want to keep it just a small hole. Obviously I go slightly bigger for play, but I'm gonna mount the plate, just give it like a 1/8 inch all around, maybe a 1/4 inch all around, just so it clears in. I'm gonna bolt this up so there's minimal air coming in from the outside. I could really do it the other way, or just the whole thing, but I mean either way it's gonna have a boot and some type of insulation over it. But so now I got the seats off and stuff, so I can take the carpet out and be able to tack on that piece. I'm still not sure if I want to take this old carpet off, which I probably should, but not exactly sure. I'm sure this one holds a lot of moisture that gets under it, so that's probably going to come off. It'd probably be a good time to spray some rust preventative on the floor, since there's some spots that it's starting. Better take care of it now before it becomes an issue. So that's what I got going on right now. That's what I'm talking about, that little spot. It doesn't look like it's through it all. I just probably kept moisture there enough to make a little hole, but all that will be sanded down, get as much off as I can. Then I'll treat it with some rust stop or something, just so it doesn't continue. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be working on that here. Got my plate made. I gotta cut it over there, but you guys can see what I'm talking about here. I gotta make it a little bigger, bend this corners around, tack it, and then I might just actually glue it and do rivets. That way if I ever get a different tranny where I need to move it, I don't need to cut that as much. I could just replace that plate with another one. So that's a plan at least, but we'll see how it goes. See, this here is what I'm talking about. That rubber one keeps moisture. Oh, this just looks worse than what it is just because it had recently water sitting on it. But it feels solid. So I'm going to sand it down for now. Eventually I'll need to do the tunnel for like T56. So then I'll redo this area. But for now I'm not worried about it. But this stuff want to take advantage that it's already falling out, then like I said, eventually I'll remove the carpet again. When I fix that, then I'll actually do full insulation, sound deadening insulation. That way it keeps the cab a little quieter versus not having that at all. So like I said, this backside I'm gonna leave for now, but this one, since it came right off, I'll probably do what I can on it and worry about the rest later. But yeah, that's the reason I hate rubber carpet, because anything that gets under it just pretty much stays there. I gotta see if it's leaking down here or if my door just stayed cracked enough. At one point, I know I might have left my window down at one point, so all that could have been from that. So, but eventually it'll all get taken care of. But just thought I showed you guys that it's there and what's going on with that. So this is the driver's side. Just want to show you guys that it's basically not holding on. Literally lifted this corner and it all pretty much just popped off, almost all in one piece. So why not just remove it all? So this is what I got. I got the plate on. Like I said, originally I thought about tacking it in place, but if I have to remove the tranny, the cross member doesn't get removed, so I can't just lower it. I have to slide it forward. So what I'm gonna do, I got self tappers for now, but I'm gonna do time certs eventually, and every time I gotta take it on and off, I'll just do like a beaded silicone or just some type of rubber seal. That way when I can remove it and undo the 6 bolts or 4 bolts for the actual short shifter, pull that out and then I can slide the tranny forward. So that'll actually work better, and it's useful. So I'm gonna throw the carpet back in, just like start mocking other stuff up, but that should be the plan for that. And I still have to paint it, or at least etching primer it. But like I said, it's all mock up still, so we'll see. Might still have to trim around that some more, just because if you look at it, still, if it happens to shake, which it shouldn't because it has solid mounts, or fairly solid, I don't think it'll move enough. So I guess we'll see. Alright, so I'm working on the driver's side coilover again now that Silverado rear end is done. Piece of shit wire. As you guys can see, I got all the bump stops cut off. Obviously I still have to clean up all the welds there or whatever. That's not what I'm worried about right now. I cut the top piece off where the shock normally mounts on, and I got the arms and stuff put on. But if I have the tire off, I could go way higher, but since the tire's on there, it hits the fender guard obviously. But I'm gonna show you guys how low it goes before it hits, now that the bump stops are gone. It actually goes a lot. Not that I'm gonna go that low, but there it starts lifting the truck because of the bump stop. But if I really wanted to go that low, I could cut that out, and I could, or just go smaller wheels and I wouldn't even have to. But I'm really set on running 17s in the front. I'll just obviously run a little fatter tire with a little lower profile for the front, since they are 45 series. So I might do like a 225, 35 or 40, and then the rear is going to be by 11. So but anyways, to the front, right height, I'm probably going to set it right where there's like barely any gap. It's going to be right about there. The coilover is going to be pretty much at the highest point, which is going to be